Hey everybody, welcome to the final installment of Three Guys and Two Mics here at Interpack 2026. I am Editor-in-Chief of ProFood World, Derek Teal. To my left here, we have the venerable Matt Reynolds.
Venerable?
Venerable.
All right.
Yeah. Editor of Packaging World. And to my right, we have our jack-of-all-trades editor, Casey Flanagan. And so guys,
How many steps total between the three of us?
between the three of us, I have no idea.
I was around 15,000 to 20,000 a day for 4 days, and if we amortize that, we're English majors and literature majors. We're not math majors,
Right.
But you engineers out there can do them.
You can figure it out.
We have to have run a marathon at this point.
Yeah,
At least between us.
I just know that yesterday was my downtime down mileage was at 3. Today I was back up to 5. So,
Okay.
so 7,635.
All right.
Nice.
So we've traversed some landscape while we're here. 18 halls, well, technically 17 halls. We've covered materials, machinery, smart packaging, all sorts of processing, food,
safety.
beverage, food safety. AI is, it's everywhere, but we don't notice it anymore. I met my first humanoid robot today. Actually shook hands.
Yeah, he liked him, tried to kick me, but man.
Yeah, I got to get in with our overlords. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I think one thing that I noticed today, and at a couple other booths throughout the show, was combining machinery, getting multiple features into one compact unit, something that can do multiple things at once. So it's in a small footprint, but also easy to kind of focus on, easy to operate for the operator. They don't have to focus on 3 different machines with all their own unique features and things like that. So,
well, a lot of these brands are dealing with limited space. They only have so much. They're constrained by, brownfield kind of situations. So the more you can do with less square footage is, you see that over and over again.
exactly. Yeah. So one of the brands that I saw doing that was Fortress Technology, and they had a 3-in-1 machine that was pretty cool. It was they did check weighing, X-ray, and label inspection all in one unit that was pretty compact for fitting all of that into one thing. And so it was exactly that. It's great for the square footage, and it's just right there for the operator.
I saw a Norden. This is one of the Cohesia companies. Norden
tray and case packer for tubes.
They're just known for tube filling. That's kind of like a specialty of theirs. But this is basically compacting everything smaller and smaller and smaller, and all putting tubes in. And there's actually 2 separate infeeds. So you've got everything happening in a really, really constrained space. So sometimes these tube filling situations are at the hub of multiple different lines. So to have that hub be able to take and accept a lot of infeeds in such a small space, that's really valuable for a lot of these filling companies that are doing toothpaste or cosmetic tubes, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and talking about space, one of the things that I saw this, I had to take notes because he got pretty technical, but it was a company called OneDrive, and it was a magnetic direct drive. And one of the advantages of that is with the magnetic drive is that you can actually put it right there on the line instead of having it off the side, and that saves space. And the person I talked to was talking about how that there have been use cases where that has really helped save space and create a more efficient line because you're able to move that around pretty much wherever it's needed. The other advantage of that is because the way it's set up, unlike a typical drive where if you start at 1 horsepower drive, if you start it up, it's going to use approximately 400 watts just to start up. And as it goes, it's going to get hot. And he was telling me that this drive, once it starts up, the example I saw, it was lifting 100 pounds over and over, had started at the beginning of the show today. And I'm touching the casing and it's still pretty cold. It's cool to cold, it's a stainless steel casing. And it was only using up to 75 watts.
And you were telling me this earlier, and there's also another benefit, I think, that there's expansion and contraction when it heats up and cools down. So that has to be an advantage.
It absolutely is. And especially when you're talking cleaning, clean a place, you're spraying it down, you're getting water out there. And as drives contract from the heat, if they're hot, they contract, they suck in that moisture from the cleaning. And as we know, electronics and water don't really mix very well.
Mm-hmm.
But because this drive is running as cool as it does, it doesn't draw in that vapor, and it preserves the longevity of that drive. And as we know how, as much as drives can cost, if you're not having to replace them constantly.
And by constantly, it could be like every year, every 2 years. And these guys,
depending on the conditions, yeah.
you're looking at 5 possibly.
Yeah, I believe that, don't quote me, or we can look it up, put it on the screen, but I believe that the warranty said was at least 5 years.
Okay, so the more life you can get out of components, the better.
Absolutely. And obviously, if you're drawing less power overall, that's another thing for the sustainability, which we've talked about almost every day.
It feels like there's nothing that I saw just had one benefit. It felt like there were multiple benefits to everything. It was like it wasn't just compostable, but was compostable but had barrier or something like that. So I don't have a specific example, but it just seemed it was like many things were doing many different things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I noticed that a lot today. Was the sustainable and recyclable options that also had some kind of value add going on. So it almost seems like these companies are recognizing that recyclability is kind of the standard, and now it's about reaching that next level of, oh, by the way, I can do this or that. Some of them that I noticed that had that, there was a Japanese company called Itochu, and they had a mono flexible film, a PE film that it was fully recyclable, but it also was great for heat resistance. So it went up to, I want to say it was like 120 degrees Celsius for that plastic.
That's what you were saying. You said, it was 100 Celsius.
Yeah, so it was pretty impressive for its heat resistance, and so that helped it in the manufacturing process.
But because it's a mono material, it's recyclable.
Yeah, and it also happens to be recyclable. So yeah, and then Dow had another example kind of like that. They had an ultra high barrier, all PE little stick pack, like you might put a powder into.
Sure.
And
like
so
Nescafe or something.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're looking for that extra high barrier, making sure no moisture gets inside there, it offers that, but it also is a recyclable material. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, and just one other thing, talking about the multiple functionality, that I went to Erie's today and looked at their X-ray machine, and it acts as a checkware, even though there's no scale on it. And it's able to do that by measuring the density of the pre-programmed product in there, and it's able to say, based off of the algorithm that they're using, as to whether or not it's meeting the specs that they have set for it, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely.
I noticed, this is something I'm going to have to, we've been talking about incremental, very specific examples. This is our last day. I'm kind of backing up a little bit because I've got some great articles, so keep an eye on Packaging World magazine and the website for the next couple of weeks as all these kind of matriculate out.
Same as ProFood World, don't forget about it.
Yes, all the publications. But there's the two biggest trends, other than a lot of the AI and all these things that are ongoing, are this balance between, I would say, sustainability and using less material, using lighter weight material, and imbuing packaging. I'm specifically on packaging. Imbuing packaging with attributes that, or basically weighing it down with attributes, you might say, that make it more robust, that make it smarter. Whether it's RFID or putting a lot of information on QR codes. So it's kind of I didn't realize it until the very end of the day. I saw a great presentation over at Tagleaf. Mars was there. Mars is doing a lot with experimenting with new materials and compostability. And one of the people there asked a question that I hadn't thought about. It's like, how are you're trying to make the lightest possible weight compostable package, but you're trying to give it all these attributes, all these smart attributes. You have to follow it through the supply chain. It has to report back to, whether it's EPR in the United States or PPWR in Europe, and it has to report something different. So packaging has to do a lot of stuff, and it has to keep the product inside it, intact and can't spoil. But at the same time, they're trying to make it as lightweight as possible. So tensions, packaging is all about trade-offs. The more you lean into one trend, the more that you're, neglecting another. So it's optimizing all these different toggle switches that you can turn this lever up and this lever goes down. But that's packaging. That's what packaging has always done. That's how packaging developers and equipment manufacturers have always had to balance multiple different things and keep plates spinning. I don't know if you guys have any big picture takeaways that you want to zoom out and after 4 days.
I think we have some big picture takeaways. Obviously, as you said, read about them on ProFoodWorld.com, and we'll also take some of your insights as well and put them on ProFood World. So
it goes both ways.
It goes both ways, absolutely. Yeah. But some of the biggest takeaways that I had was, the downsizing of equipment just to retain that floor space, and the user ease, I guess, is the best way to put that, just because it just make it simpler for people, because of we talked about it already, I think, on episode 1 or 2 about the experience level not being there.
And they're graduating out, or not graduating, they're retiring out.
Absolutely, and just from a time perspective, even if they are skilled, just making it easier so they're not having to change, run film through 32 different rollers. They can run it through just 5. So I think those are probably the biggest takeaways: just ease of use and and sustainability.
Good. Absolutely. And I guess one thing that I really feel like I've noticed here is the focus on sustainability for the sake of PPWR here in Europe. Since we're out here, that's the kind of the main name that it's being called by. But the same kind of thing is happening in some states with EPR. So it really is just something that the industry is focused on a ton at this Interpack. And so it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to sit down finally.
Yeah.
And we had good weather here throughout the show.
It changed this morning, so this
Hence
is
the hat.
Yeah, we were hoping to get one
got
good.
cold.
We were hoping to get one good outdoor sunny Königsalley, but we promise you, we really are in Germany, and we're not in Cincinnati or Topeka. I promise.
This isn't just some random background.
Right. This is
This is a real hotel.
A Dusseldorf hotel lobby. Yes.
Yeah, well, gentlemen, it's been a privilege and an honor serving with you the last couple of days. It's been fun. Welcome to your first Interpack, and now many more for both of you to come, I'm sure.
Hope so.
Thank you. Yes, this has been great. So
Fantastic.
Thanks to all our viewers for the last few days for putting up with us and our extended commentary.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.